Hey guys, what is up? My name is Yasmin, if you don't already know who I am, and if you're brand new, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for your loyalty. If you haven't already given me a subscribe, you can do so below, as well as the bell notification, as well as a thumbs up if you really like this video. So, well, first of all, I have to apologize as there was not an upload on Sunday. Usually I upload every Sundays and Wednesdays, but I was really quite ill on Sunday. Actually, for all of last week, I had viral tonsillitis. I got it from my little nephew, and this is just to prove to you that I wasn't just being lazy and not uploading a video. So anyway, today is all about the game. The game, like the dating game. When you first meet someone, and you don't know, if they like you or they don't, or you just, like both playing each other. There can often be ghosting in there. And let's face it, I've played the game. I hate the game. Like, it sucks. And if you have played the game too, I don't know whether you like it or you don't. I personally feel that if you are playing the game and you enjoy it, it's kind of really sociopathic. But at that same time, it is definitely like one that there are certain rules in that certain beginning with, and because let's face it, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Like, we're completely wired differently mentally and chemically, right? And it took me a little while to like work this all out, kind of, in the dating game, pretty much, because as men are usually like black or white, but women, we're not just black or white. We have shades of grey all in between that black and white, and things are not as they seem. Whereas a man will be like, either it is A or it is B. But no, women, we are very complex creatures. We like, we analyze everything, we overanalyze everything, we overthink, and everything that men do, even though you think that you're being like completely black or white, we'll like nitpick and we'll overthink and we'll analyze. What does this mean? What does this mean? So when I finally worked out in my life that no, men aren't like this, there is no shades of grey in between that black or white, it is really straightforward, then all my problems were answered. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of advice here about when you're meeting a chick and when to like, the little like game stuff that goes on and what we're really thinking when you're doing certain things, because the last thing that you're going to want to do is, play this game or this, hard to get whatever, but in actual fact, all you're doing is just you pushed her away completely and she'll never come back, because women, at the end of the day, women have many more options than to guys. And these days, women don't necessarily have to be attached down to anyone. We can be very content and happy on our own. And we can date multiple guys at once, just the way in history men dated multiple girls at once, right? So you may not want the fact, like, have you ever heard that saying, like, you've just lost her? Well, you know what? Beyonce said it. Next. Well, it's very quite true. So when you're like dating in the very beginning, there's often this little bit of games, and generally there is always that 3-day rule, right? Where you don't, after like a date, you don't text or call for the first 3 days because you don't want to seem overly keen on that someone. It's completely true. I personally find as a female, if a guy is like showing way too much interest in me, I'm suddenly just like turned off. But if they suddenly go completely cold, it's like, because it's this thing that I believe both genders really want, and that is we want what we can't have. And suddenly when someone becomes unavailable, we suddenly want them. But when they're too available, it's just the psychology behind it is, we just want too much, It's just like when they're too available, we want, whatever. So it's very common in dating, and especially women, to always be busy. Like, we're always busy. Even we could like be sitting at home in our pajamas doing absolutely nothing and have like no plans whatsoever. But it'd be very common for a girl to say like, oh no, I'm busy, and then I can see you like next week. Like, she will take control of that situation and say, no, I'm busy now, but if, like, I can see you next week. And this is taking control, and guys often do this as well. But however, if you're really into this girl and you're really digging this girl, do you really, or even as a girl with a guy, do you really want to fall into this like game playing kind of thing? It's the same principle as with the phone calls. Like they call, you just don't answer, you're like because secretly, you know what, you could answer that call, not replying to a text for like hours and hours and hours to like make out that you're busy. So as a guy, usually I've found that guys always, like if you do that, they're just gonna keep on chasing you, right? Like someone told me once that if you ignore them, they'll eventually go away. No, it's not true. If you ignore them, they're actually gonna chase you more. And I'm gonna tell you one thing about why women do this and will ignore you and we will cut you off and whatever, is because women love to be chased. That whole theory of men love to chase and women love to be chased is exactly right. Look at cows. There's always one bull in a herd of cows, and when that man has banged that cow once, he'll go on to the next cow. He won't like keep doing that same entire cow. That's why there's only one bull in that whole thing of cows, because let's face it, and then let's go back in history again. Men had multiple wives, right? Multiple wives. And they often had harem as well. Like the options are out there. I mean, it's actually completely irrelevant as to why the population in the world is more of women than of men, because men generally can't be with one woman, right? They like to think. So the real big trick in all this is to really just keep that guy on his toes and just to constantly, but at that same time, you just cannot, eventually they're gonna get bored, right? If you're like a guy and you are playing this game in reverse, never a good idea. I mean, you can like retract a little bit and retract to the point that like you kind of, you know, you don't want to seem too keen, because that's attractive to a woman, you know, being not too keen. But at the same time, if you're not showing any interest in her at all, she's just gonna move on to the next guy, dude. Like, you just gotta, you know, she wants you to chase her to a certain point. There's a certain way that you've got to give some and then just retract it back a little bit, you know. There's a certain element in which to do so. But you can't like give too much the sense of like you're being too keen, or the point that you're being sleazy either. There has to be this kind of like line in the middle, like you know, you might still be, not that you're still dating other people as well, but like you just got to be cool, right? Because she wants you to chase her. It's kind of like this fine line with women, and you know, everything that you do will ultimately be analyzed. So if you're giving her mixed signals like I want to be with you and then you don't, you want to be with you and then don't, this is just going to mess with the poor girl's head, right? So do you really want to mess with the poor girl's head? Maybe you do if you're a sociopath. But, you know, I wouldn't really advise this for anyone that if you're actually taking that girl seriously at all, like at all. So ultimately, I really just do believe, like, you got to ascertain, like, what is she to you? Do you actually take her seriously or you do not? Because if you do, then, like, I wouldn't be going around and playing those certain, like, hardcore games, to be quite frank. I would just be, like, retracting as well. In ways of being way too keen. Like I had a boyfriend once, and like literally within the first month, he was like, I want to take you to meet my mom. I want to, you know, get you pregnant. And I was just like, oh, this is too much. But then as soon as he then picked up on that from me, like, oh, this is way too much too soon. Like he backed off completely. And then my psychology was like, oh my gosh, I want him so much now, because it seems like he's completely lost interest in me. To see how those two aspects completely switched, to the point that when he went completely cold on me and I really wanted him, to the point that then I was like, okay, now I'm done with this. Like we have to split up. Like this is just going ridiculous. Then he was upset that I broke up with him. It's like, where do these games, like these games can only be done to a certain point. Otherwise, you will just sabotage your whole entire relationship. And that person could be the right one for you, you know? So ultimately, at the end of the story, I'm here to tell you guys, it's like, you know, it's about understanding the opposite sex. And just for women, just to know that men do not have shades of grey in between. They're very, pretty much like what you see is what you get. And if they tell you something, you know, what it is. For guys with girls, you know, be very careful about what you say, because if you're going to give mixed signals about what you want and what you don't want, that's just like messing with the poor girl's head. And women have many options these days, you know what I mean? I hope you like this video and this dating advice. I do videos on quite a lot of varying topics, not just this. I'm quite versatile in my videos. So anyway, hope you give it a thumbs up and a like, and I'll see you next time.